Rachel Claver speaking, and you've come to Marketing Locally. Oh, Tracy, you disappeared there, but you arrived back again, which is quite good.
Again.
And we are going to be doing a webinar for you on Marketing Locally, some essential tips and ideas to help you with your small business. And if you haven't been able to reach this today and come to the session today, if you've been registered, we will send you a link to this so you get to watch it sometime in the next 5 days, so that you can enjoy watching it and learning alongside us. So let's just get straight into it. It's got a lot to cover. The first thing is, who is Rachel Claver from Identify? So I'm a marketing strategist. I have a business called Identify, or Identify Marketing. We're based in New Zealand. Forgive us for that. However, I'm very excited to say that we also have a marketing strategist called Tracy, who you happen to see there on the screen, who works for us in Australia. And Tracy, say hello so they can hear your beautiful non-New Zealand accent.
I have a very, very non-New Zealand accent, so
So we can trust you that you are indeed native to Australia.
g'day, mate. Actually,
I was going to say, Rachel, don't say g'day, mate, during the session, because then they'll be like, faker. I know you're a faker.
I love saying that to all the Kiwis. They love it.
So we at Identify, we focus on strategy, marketing strategy, digital training, anything that will help you learn and be empowered to run your business. And then we do some of the setup for the stuff that you don't like, and then we hand it over back to you so you can run it. So that's how we run and what we do. Really passionate about growing local business, because we know that local businesses are so much the lifeblood of the economy, and that people need, marketing a business locally is actually a lot easier than you think it is. So here's some tips. Most of we're just going to walk through the slides, but I am going to give you like a little tip and show you a few things today at the same time. And we've got another event that we do a more in detailed thing during the that's a whole day one that's also free, but this will just give you a little tester and a taste and give you some ideas. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is that you always need to make sure that you start with trust. When you're looking at marketing, especially in any business, but especially a local business, having a trust-based business where people know that if you say you're going to do something and you're going to turn up and you do that, helps people recommend you. And I'll give you an example. We have been recently looking at getting our garden remodeled out the back, and it's a mess out there. We've got native bush, and we've cleared a bit of it. Legally, we've cleared a bit of it. Some of it you're not legally allowed to, so that's here to stay. But we've cleared a bit of it, and we want to do a big thing and make it something that we can use. And I rang maybe about 8 or 9 different people who would come out and contract to us to be able to fix it up. Now, I actually only had 2 people reply out of the 9. So I've already got 7 people who did not even bother to reply to a $25,000 job because they didn't have the systems in place, which means I'm not going to chase it up because I don't trust them. If they can't answer an email or respond to an email or a call, then why would I trust them with all that money to do the work? The second thing is, one of those people got the job because every time I asked him for something, he said he'd deliver on time. If he couldn't turn up on time, he would ring me and apologize. And I was like, even though his quote was a bit more than the other person, I went with him because I knew that he was demonstrating trust with me. I knew that if he said he was going to start on the 1st of November, he means I am going to start on the 1st of November. And if something happens that means he can't do that, I also know he'll communicate that with me. So communication and trust means that we create a really robust business. And in a local community, that's even more important because word of mouth is so important to growing a really good business. In fact, Tracy, you know, for both of us, we don't even work with businesses who don't have good word of mouth.
No, absolutely not. It's your starting base at the end of the day.
Yeah, and if they don't have word of mouth, we know that marketing is just going to break it.
Yeah. And the other thing, I suppose, too, is if they already have great word of mouth and they're doing okay, then imagine how amazing they can do with some strategy behind all of that and just
exactly
it builds it right up.
Yeah, so trust is a really important part of this. And so lots of people will apologize to us when they work with us. And I say, oh, what marketing have you been doing? And they go, oh, look, it's really embarrassing. But actually, we just do word of mouth. And I'm like, well, that's fantastic. If you've got word of mouth and repeat business, that means you're doing the right job. So you just need to be aware that that is marketing. It's marketing with intent, it's marketing with values, and it's marketing with how you run your business. Everything we do in business has got a marketing message attached to it. And so that's just really important. So please don't beat yourself up if that's all you're doing, but also if you aren't getting repeat business and word of mouth business marketing, everything else we suggest now after this is a waste of time to adopt until you fix that. And that's just a really important part.
All right. I'll just add to that, Rachel, is that another way to think of it as well is that there is now an entire industry that we call the influencers. That is word of mouth. That's exactly how that whole industry started. So it just goes to show how strong your word of mouth.
Absolutely. And in a local business, everyone's an influencer. So it's important to remember that you don't know who they're connected to and who they're going to tell. All right. So we're going to just whip through these ones. So the first one is Google My Business. So if you're a local business, Google My Business is essential. And I'm going to share with you my screen for a minute because I'm going to show you a couple of ways that Google My Business works. Now, Google My Business is a free thing. And so I'm just going to go here and just show you that we're based in Ottawa, which is north of Auckland, just so you know, it's not, I'm going to just make sure that you can see the screen. And so what I've done here is I've searched for a keyword, marketing agency Ottawa, and you can see that there are Google ads here. And then if you come down here, I'm hoping, I'm not, oh, yeah, okay, oh, phew, I'm there. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not there because this one's an ad, so I'm not there. So, and these change around. Sometimes the order changes all the time. It's not consistent. But what you want to do is you want to end up being on the Google map. And to be on the Google map, you need to have a Google My Business page. And if you were looking at this and you didn't know it was us, we've all got 5 stars. So what would be one? So sometimes people will just choose the first one, which might be the ad, or it might be the first organic one. But most people will choose the one here that's got a lot of reviews because it makes people feel very safe. And having lots of reviews on your Google My Business page actually is great for your marketing because it builds trust, again, that trust thing with people who don't know who you are. So even though Pixie actually has a better SEO for marketing agencies in terms of the organic searches, a lot of people will look at this information and then use that information to help them make a decision. Now, Pixie is actually an SEO agency. We're not an SEO agency, so that's why they will tend to be better at working out who they are on there. But you can see that makes quite a bit of difference. The other thing with the Google My Business, I'm just going to stop sharing that page because I'm going to show you another page in a moment, is the other thing with is that it does help people be able to communicate with you in a really easy way. And literally the way that you set up your Google My Business page, if you don't have one, is I'm just going to show you, is you literally just Google My Business, which I always think is a bit of a laugh. But I want to show you that so you can see it. Now, I obviously have Google My Business, so you can see that I've Googled Google My Business, and then it comes up with this. And it's purple for me because I have actually used it a bit, and I'm actually going to click through to this now and just click through to Google My Business. And you'll see that there's a bunch of pages on here. So not all of them are ones that that are mine. But I want to just show you something really powerful on here. So you can see that that's our new one there for Australia, for Tracy. It's got the verification code. It took me a while to work out we needed a Google My Business page for Australia. So anyway, so that's going through. But let's just go and take a look here. But I want to just show you a really important little trick with Google My Business that makes a huge amount of difference. So actually, I'm going to use this one because this one was scheduled in and I want to change it. So, oh, hang on. Where we go. I'm just going to click into this post. Can I do that? Can I go into that post and change it? Yes, I'm going to. So I'm just going to show you. So here's a picture, and I want to change something on it. So I'm going to just show you here. See how there's like a little Learn More button? When you put the Learn More buttons on, Google can actually measure how many people have clicked on those posts. So this one here, which was a testimonial, it had 42 views and 4 clicks on it to go to our website, which is really what you want people to be able to do. You can use Google My Business to promote things and help people push things. You can share offers, show your hours, all those sort of things. I'm just going to show you in here. So it's got the image, I've got the product here, and then I can say learn more. So I can use learn more, and then if I can't do it now because I don't have the list, the thing, I could just put my website link in here and press publish, and then it would have a little button on it, and then it will work better. Google likes things with those buttons because it's encouraging people to go back to your website, and it's really good for SEO, your search engine optimization. So Google My Business is a really powerful tool that you can use locally. It's got heaps of different things you can use. There is an app on your phone. Where are we? It's called My Business, and it's a little house. It's a cute little storehouse. So it's got that little one with the little thing there. The next one next to the S there, My Business. So if you have that, you can also set that up to have notifications. If you're in trades or things that people might ask questions, they can ask questions on there and you can answer them right away. So we don't even have to go to your website, and it really helps with people getting to know you. So Google My Business, using Google My Business for a locally based business is absolutely essential. Cannot undermine it. It can underwhelmingly say to you how important it is. It's just so important. For national businesses, yep, it's great. But for local businesses, oh my goodness, it's amazing. So just be aware that that's super important and one of the biggest things, and it's a completely free tool. And yes, we do recommend that you have a website, which we'll talk about soon, but you can actually even use the free Google website if you really need to set things up before you start, if you have absolutely no budget. Wouldn't be my favorite thing to do. Tracy, probably the same, you would agree, to have like a good basic website would be great, but instead of doing that, but if you're stuck, good option.
Yeah, absolutely. And even if in the meantime, before you get that full website completely built, at least just get on there and have something there to start with.
Exactly, with a picture and a contact details, and those sort of things are great. All right,
Yep.
The next thing that we're going to talk about is regular and good social media. And what I mean by that is regular social media is really great in terms of reminding people who you are. You can use Facebook and Instagram, or Facebook or Instagram. We normally recommend having both. And the key thing is to think about what people want to see as opposed to what you want to tell them. They're probably not very interested in finding out about your new cool gadget unless you can show them a reason why they would be excited about it in a way, that might help them. Make sure that every time you do a post, you think what's in it for the reader, what needs to be the way to do it. And it's very important to think about these platforms as very visual. Lots of video, lots of bright colors, lots of things that activate and help people notice things and enjoy what they are. So I'm just going to quickly show you our identify one, just to, in terms of our Instagram, just to give you an idea here. Look, we have we only have 836 followers, and we're not like a big deal, but it doesn't matter that we're not a big deal. Just move this here, because what we're really doing is focusing on the market that we've got. And so you go through here, you can see that we've got a range of video, different options, and you can see that it's consistent. The coloring is consistent. The brand is consistent, and it helps people feel safe and know what we're doing. We're just starting to move into some new brandings. You're seeing a bit of a glimpse of it here or there. And so it's creating it. So using the social media is so important. Consistent, again, it's about building trust. Consistent social media posting helps people understand and trust you and feel like you're going to be around and you're turning up. There's nothing worse than having a social media page where it was set up, you did a post in 2018, did another post halfway through 2019, and there's nothing there on it anymore. We see those, don't we, Tracy?
Yeah, I probably see at least one a week.
Yeah, there we go. So, it's quite common. It's a much more common. So using regular social media, and good just means think about the reader, think about your target market. Don't write what you want to say. Don't talk about sales all the time and offers and what you want to sell them. Think about what they might need. So a mechanic might give tips on how to change a wheel, change a tire. not change a wheel. Or it might be like some things around a paint tip, or for a painter, or it might be how to prepare walls before we come in, or information and bits and pieces. It might be showing some interior design ideas, or lots of things that just stimulate, or asking questions to help people feel more engaged with your page. It's not there to be a magazine of sales stories about you over and over again, because that is not good social media. So that's really important in there.
An example even that I just had yesterday is I was looking for actually a service myself. So it doesn't matter how small your business is, having something consistent, even if it's just once a week, is better than having nothing. And when I was looking, the actual service was for a local cleaner, and I'm nervous about people coming into my space in my home. So I wanted to get a feel for them before I contacted them.
Yeah.
And I've looked at a few different ones, and some of them had no Facebook presence. Some of them had some, and there was only just a cover page. And then there was another one or two that actually had some semi-regular posting, which actually I found out the person's name. I found out all these bits and pieces, which then made me feel comfortable and confident to contact them and say, hey, can we talk a little bit more?
Yeah, and I think that's really important. This is about showing a bit of your personality, about who you are. I work with the builders in another part of New Zealand, and one of the things I love with this building company is, like Wade has got like this big bushy beard, and he often like fronts up to the camera. His wife does these really cool videos. So he does these things about like, wow, look at all this, and here's a tip over here, and when you're looking at a site, this is what you should do. And Nicola's doing things like, so this is what it's like living in a builder's house. This drip hasn't been fixed for 4 years. I have to put a bucket underneath it every time we rain, or like, this is what it's like living with your builder. We live on a farm. He walks through mud, and now look at the mud all through my house. Like, so she does these cool little things, and people love it. They think it's so funny.
Yeah. It's because, I know I'm a builder's wife myself, and I could connect with that and have a laugh. Even my kids could. My kids would say, can we just stop renovating?
I know. It's exhausting. It's like my children, every time I say, they like show any sort of sign of creativity, I'm like, oh, and they go, if you tell me that that's a marketing skill, I'm literally going to leave this room and lock the door of my bedroom and not talk to you for the rest of the day. It's my little trick of things I do to stop my children annoying me. But it is true. But those things actually help people engage, and showing bits about who you are and your hobbies helps you find people. And look, some of us have very, obviously if your hobby includes, I don't know, burning down big buildings, perhaps don't put that up there. Like, make sure they're socially acceptable habits. But I do think that it's really important to show the whole life of how we are, because it gives touch points and reasons for people to interact with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's really important. The other thing is you need to have a website. And this is a thing that's really common with local businesses, especially small ones or ones where you've got a lot of word of mouth, is you go, I don't need to have a website. Facebook is enough for me. Now, for a start, Facebook isn't owned by you. We have some clients who were saying the same about Google My Business. Now, Facebook can shut down your page at any point in time for you making a mistake that you didn't know. And we know lots of people where that has happened. It is not worth putting your entire business collateral and all your stuff in Facebook. You need a website to protect yourself. I've also got clients who have lost Google My Business pages in the last 3 or 4 months because Google's been cracking down on whether it's the right address and things like that. And instead of checking with the person, they've just got rid of the page.
Yeah.
So it's really important to have the website. The other reason it's really important to have the website is a couple of reasons. One is it's really good for SEO, which I mentioned before. SEO stands for search engine optimization. Search engine optimization. And what that means is that you can actually be found in Google, mainly for Google. So it means that you've got a way of finding a place on the big web that is the World Wide Web, which is what www stands for those of you that are much younger than me. And so that little web, there you are, and that website gives you something to attach yourself onto so that Google knows how to find you if people are looking for you. So if someone's in Google and they're going, I need to find a builder near me, Google will search through all the different websites in the world and quickly come back and find the ones that are geographically closest to them, to you, to respond to you. And if you do that with a website, you have an opportunity to be the first person that people see, just like we saw before with Pixie, as using that SEO to do that. So you need a website for that. The other reason that you need a website is because of something really, really sneaky, and that's Facebook has this cool little bit of code called a Facebook pixel. And what it does is you put that code behind, and it's called a cookie, but it's not a cookie you can eat. And you put that cookie behind the website, and every time someone comes to your website, it literally isn't now. I just want to remind myself that some of you aren't as technical as me when it comes to things like I'm talking about technical stuff like a pixel behind a website. So what I mean behind a website is you can't see this big cookie, like this big Afghan, what would be big Anzac cookie on the screen. You can't see it there. What it means is there's a bit of code that is put in behind that you can't see, but Google can see, that tells Google that pixel's on there, and Facebook knows that pixel's on there. And it's a bit of code. And what happens is someone comes to your website and they go, oh, Tracy, you're looking at cleaners. You're looking at my website. And then Tracy leaves that website. And not only do you have a little pixel on her that's following her around now, like this little cookie that's following her around, that when she goes back to Facebook, if you had an ad, you could say, why, hi there, Tracy. It seems like you were on my website earlier today. Would you like to come and buy our cleaning services? So you could do that. And here's another crazy thing. Because that pixel's on your website, if you've got that on your website and all the other cleaning companies have got a pixel on their website locally to you, then Tracy could go to somebody else's website in the area that's a cleaning website that's got that pixel, and Facebook will go, Tracy's looking at cleaning companies at the moment, and then you're the only one running an ad on Facebook out of all those cleaning companies. So Facebook will go, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to direct this ad that was set up to Tracy, because Tracy obviously needs those services. That's how that pixel works, which is kind of creepy, kind of freaky, but is super awesome. So that's the other thing it does. The third thing is it's just a really good way to get people to contact you. And you can use the chat feature on Facebook, the Messenger, you can use as a chat feature on your website, which means you can have Facebook chat so people can answer you automatically, and you just reply back to them on your Facebook chat on here, which means that it's really easy for people to get in touch with you and talk to you, which I think is super awesome.
Yeah. And can I add that thinking about a website when all your word of mouth work is drying up is kind of too late. Like, I suppose it's never too late and you've just got to get it done, but you need to think about it when you're busy and you'll have more people, because it takes time to build up that SEO. It takes time for Google to get that connection with you. And thinking about it when, if you're a trade business, for example, all of a sudden you've got no work, it's not going to just click in overnight. So you need to think about it now.
It is, and it's quite a hard thing. Like we've had a very busy year. And I have had that in the back of my mind. We've been making changes, and I understand as a business owner, it is hard when things are busy to not prepare for when things are not, because you just kind of go, this is great. Things are flowing well. And then the minute it stops, wow, I should have actually been doing something about this 6 months ago, 3 months ago, 6 months ago. And I'll say to everyone here, when in New Zealand we had a lockdown, I know that in Victoria there's been lockdowns and in other areas, but Victoria's had a long lockdown. We had a lockdown in April, and we were really worried that we would have issues. But the thing was, we had been showing up consistently with our marketing for several years, and other people who hadn't were scrambling trying to get that marketing done. But we had a head start, and it made it easy for us. So that's why we say consistent marketing, even if it's average. Consistent average marketing will definitely win out for you over sporadically brilliant. Absolutely. And that's a really important thing to remember, is it doesn't have to be perfect. You should see some of the posts I do. They're not all perfect. In fact, hardly any of them are perfect, but they are good enough, and they get better the more you do them.
Yeah.
I listen, like, because Tracy and we've got another team members, Bree, you know, like sometimes they'll do some teaching or they'll do, you know, I've watched them do something or do a post and I'm like, damn, why didn't I think of that? But actually, it's just that, you know, that's what happens is you're doing your stuff, you're doing your thing, you can get inspiration from other people, but sometimes it's just that that person had that flash of inspiration that day and you just don't have it today. Consistency will still get you through, which is really important.
Absolutely.
The other thing with the website is just to make sure you talk to your customer and it's not all about how fabulous you are. Really important. So talk to them. Yeah, it's not sales, it's helping them know that you're the right person. So talk to their needs. So like if Tracy had jumped on a website and it said, hey there, Tracy, well, that would be creepy, but hey there, that would be it'd be like, there's actually I don't know if this is the same with you, Tracy, but on our on-demand television here, like the online networks, like the networks on things, you can do ads that actually say your name.
Oh.
So I thought I was faking it one night, but I was linked into my account and it said, hey, Rachel, you know, how's your day been? The ad said, and I was like, what? Like, is that like a weird thing? And then the next day we were logged in on one of my daughter's accounts and it said her name. And I went, oh, kind of freaky. But they don't do that. But with a website, you want it to have something like, you know, like you're a tired and busy professional who really loves to have a beautiful home but just can't get it done. We want to help. We love helping you have a home that looks amazing so you can really enjoy your life and not have to spend all your weekends cleaning when you should be doing other cool stuff. And Tracy would have gone, they know me. So I don't care how much it is. I'm having that. So talking to people directly really, really helps as well. All right. Then extra for experts, simple Facebook ads. So we talked about that little pixel. Having local ads are very cheap to run. And when I say local ads, I mean it depends on the size of where you are in terms of your work. If you're in a small town or small city, so how many people live in your area, Tracy?
I think it's well over 100,000.
Yeah, so that's considered a small audience in terms of Facebook, because Facebook is audience sizes are created for American size audiences. So you could actually run an ad for $100 a month in that $100,000 space and actually get enough customers and keep it quite broad.
Yeah.
If you've got a bigger area, if you're in a local area but you're in like a bigger metropolis, so like say if you're in Melbourne or Sydney, Adelaide, Perth, and you've got a larger number of people in that actual city. I'm sorry, Brisbane. I should have kept you talk to you as well. Hi, Brisbane. But like if you're in those areas and there's millions of people in those cities, then it might be that you just do a 5K circumference. So we work with a couple of big retailers that are in Auckland, and one of them, our radius is 2.5 kilometres from the shop because we know that that's how far they go and that's enough of an audience. And just having an ad saying come to our shop just creates constant foot traffic to their site. So having those local ads are really good. They're very simple to run, and you use that Facebook pixel to count people coming to your website, and then you can retarget to these. This works super well for osteos, massage therapists, retailers that have got a physical store. Sometimes builders that can work too, but often you've got a bit of a bigger geographical area. But anything in the allied health space, anything in the alternative health space, hairdressers, anything in the beauty space, and physical bricks and mortar retail stores, getting more people traffic. A++, really simple to run and really effective. You need more complicated ads for e-commerce, which we don't cover here, and obviously that's going out of your local market. But these ads are simple and they work and they are very effective. And $100 a month is actually a really good spend, not overly expensive. The other thing to remember, of course, is that we are always networking. Now, I don't want you to be like me. I almost got a TV show. I don't know if you know this, Tracy. I almost got a TV show probably about 10, 11 years ago. And I had to, the way it works in New Zealand, if you're not that famous, which I wasn't that famous, is they go, yes, we'd love to have you do your own TV show. You need to go and get sponsors. So that will pay for the TV show. So I had like managed to get like a Kleenex, I think, or something like that, a tissue, like a thing. It was a dating show. So like, Kleenex for like tears when you broke up with your boyfriend, and I'd got like all these other little like people, these groups of people, and I had like $80,000 I still had to get. So I became this networking machine, and I was like, I'm on fire. I need to get this. And I was at this party, and it was with lots of these famous, well-connected people, and I'm dancing on the dance floor like this, and I'm pitching my idea to this guy, and he reaches over and he grabs me, and I thought, oh, this is before I was married. He grabs me and he pulls me in close and he says, this is a dance floor, not a networking meeting. And it reminded me, we don't need to be on selling all the time. That's not what networking is selling all the time. But building relationships and showing who we are in the community is very important. If you are saying one thing in your marketing and saying one thing there, but you are not doing great things in your community in terms of treating people nicely or treating people with respect, it will come out. And this is the hardest thing about being a local business. Because if you can't have that integrity, people will notice. You are always networking. You're networking when you're at the supermarket. You're networking when you're at the pub. You're networking when you're at the fish and chip shop. You're networking when you're down at the beach, when you're having another business and service, you're being serviced by another business. All those things are networking opportunities where you get to build your brand and show who you are.
Yeah.
That'd be right, Tracy.
Yeah, I actually had this conversation with a trade business a week or so ago, and we talked about the importance of ringing, larger contractors that he got a lot of work from, but not sitting there and saying, hey, have you got any work coming up? Ringing and talking about what the general consensus is in the area, what the industry is looking like, and then eventually, those conversations will come towards what's going on with work. Even remembering little things like that he said to you last time you spoke to him that he was about to go, on holidays for a week. Ask him how his holiday was. What that does is it creates a genuine connection, and then when he does have work, he's going to think of this tradie guy because he knows that this guy's like a stand-up guy. He's legitimate. He has a good rapport with him. That's who he's going to choose above the guy that rings him and says, hey mate, is there any work going at the moment? So it's about being genuine and authentic.
I think that is huge, and I think there's lots of little tools you can have. I haven't got this pulled up. I might just quickly pull it up. It's an Australian it's actually Australian invention, Tracy. And so I'm going to show it to you. What was that?
All the good pavlovas are.
Oh my gosh. Oh wow. I was feeling friendly, but now I'm just like, no, of course. I don't mind if you have pavlovas. Can we keep lamingtons, or lamingtons definitely like an Australian thing?
Absolutely Australian.
Yeah, okay. We'll take pavlova then. You can have the lamington. Okay. So what I want to show you is this thing called Bonjoro. So this is actually like a little app. This is the extras, guys. This wasn't even in the plan, but I love Bonjoro, and it's great for local businesses. Now, I use a similar thing. I use Loom, which is on my desktop because I'm a desktop-based person, but this is a great thing to have on the go. You have it as an app on your phone. So say you've got like a client that you have repeat business for, like a contractor. You could click this and go, I'm going to go and send Frank a Bonjoro, and you record like a little video saying, hey Frank, this is Keith just checking in. Thought I'd just say I saw this cool thing the other day that I thought you'd enjoy, so I'm going to flick an email to you about it later on today. Or you might just go, hey, I was thinking about dropping in with some donuts for you and the boys next week. What do you think? Or whatever. And you send this personalized video, and it's embedded in their email. And so when they open it, they can press play, and it's actually in their email. You get, when you join it, guys, just give it a go and see if it works. We used it with a real estate. We've used it with lots of people. We used it with a real estate agent here. His sign-ups for houses for sales doubled in conversion rate after he introduced Bonjoro, which is amazing. Imagine if you'd gone and done a meeting, like if you have a consultancy process, like interior designers or builders, where you're often having to have the meeting and then you go away, and before you do your quote, you can do a thing like, hey, I'm going to send the quote through to you next week. I just want to say, I'm so excited about this project. This is something I thought about since of something you said, and this is my response. That interpersonal, really intimate in a professional context way of communicating with that person builds trust, and they feel so special, and it's such an easy thing to do. So it's got, from memory, it's got a 5 first. If you sign up for the trial, you get 5 free. And then what they don't tell you is you get another 15 free. So you actually get 20 free Bonjuros to test it out, which would help you see, is this worth it? And give it a go, because I do think it's a really cool wee tool that you can use as well. But yeah, remember but we are always networking. And in terms of that too, that I would like you to remember too, is this is why we use things like car signage. But don't use car signage if you've got really aggressive driving styles.
Or as another tradie said to me the other day, he didn't want to use it because he liked to go, I think it was surfing or swimming or something at lunchtime, and he said it wouldn't look so good if in the middle of the day my ute's always down at the beach.
Seriously, we live 200 physical steps from a surf beach. And the number of tradies who you go, I guess no one's working today at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock in the morning. They're parking up ready to go for their surf. Or worse, around town, we've got a fishing beach around the corner too. You rock up, at 6 o'clock and you're like, they're all going out fishing for the day. It looks like a great day to be doing building, but apparently it's not. So now I have very little trust with builders when they say things like, sorry, I'm finishing another job off at another house today and I'll be back tomorrow. I'm always like, the weather looks really good. There's no wind. I don't believe you. But yes, so those things are important, and I think I used to be a teacher in a really small, I was going to call it a small village, it's about Maine, a small town in the South Island of New Zealand. And I found it really tricky because there are limits of like relaxing. And I think sometimes I do understand what it's like to be a local business. Like I couldn't have like a heavy avocado drop on my foot at the supermarket and go, because if I swore, there'd be likely to be little Colin, who was 6 years old, go, hi, my name was Mrs. Goodchild then. Hi, Mrs. Goodchild, how are you? I didn't know you knew the word. And I'll be like, awesome. Now that's going to go all around the school. So those sort of things are hard. But, things like, you've got a big party and you're bringing out like lots of cakes. Maybe get your friends to carry one out each individually, so it doesn't look like you're a raving alcoholic drinking a lot of alcohol in one night. Like, these are things that do make a difference, unfortunately. Be aware of it. It's really important. All right, so in terms of traditional marketing, that's things like print and radio. Now, where you are, Tracy, do you have a local radio network?
Yeah, we do, and a local newspaper that's got a really strong circulation too. So
yeah, so those things still work really, really well. What I think people get stuck on is they forget to do the digital side first. So I normally recommend do that stuff first, set it up so that when people hear you on the radio, they go to the web and they find you, because it's very hard for people like, I've done radio, I love radio, but it's very hard for people to find you if you don't have that online presence. Yeah. And the other same thing goes for your for any print is great, but make sure there's that balance with the digital side as well, so people looking up you can Google you later, because it's easy to lose an article or lose an ad. But traditional marketing, often with other businesses, we say it's not really important. But when it comes to local businesses, especially if your demographic is older, it is a really good way. So like, I know dentists that find that an ad once a week in a paper that's read by 60 pluses is a great way to get that information across.
Yeah.
So putting that traditional marketing in is an important part, but remember, it does have cost. So make sure you've got all those free and low cost digital tools working first to make sure that you're maximizing any visits to your website, maximizing any visits of searching you out. Google My Business, if they Google you, your name's going to come up in that Google My Business. So all those things will help, but you need to have that. It's kind of the icing on the cake. And I think a lot of businesses start with this and then they go to the digital marketing, which is the wrong way of doing it. And actually, to be honest, Tracy, this is a really great example with us, with Identify. We're looking at having to use traditional marketing for people to trust us more in Australia. But that's because we've already got that base bedrock of the digital marketing there already. And it's just taking that next level up to help people understand it.
Yeah. And also remembering to think outside the box with your traditional marketing, because, for example, if you're specializing in bathroom renovations, there's a huge market with those empty nester group there. And think of the things that they're doing, they might not end up seeing the paper, but they might be on the golf course every day. So thinking of signage at the golf course, thinking where your target market's going to be, and then use that version of traditional marketing. It doesn't have to be, always across the board and generic.
I really love that. Now, I'm just going to mention the golf course brought me up with another thing. Be wary of using sponsorship as a key part of your marketing. Lots of people use it, but unless it's actually to your target market and you're able to really deliver who you are, it really is just you helping a business out, another like a charity or organization out. I don't personally believe sponsorship is part of a marketing strategy, because it's really just a way to give to an organization that you love. As soon as you add that marketing thing in it, it becomes pushy, and people don't like to be sold to in a place where they're relaxing or chilling out. The other thing with traditional marketing, I'm going to give you a super cool trick. I've used this with early childhood teachers. I've used this with people who build swimming pools, with builders, with tree choppers, gardeners, a whole range of things. If you are in a place where you have to go to someone's home, a super cool trick to have is have a bunch of nice flyers, like good quality ones. Don't make them cheap and cruddy. Don't have them just on a piece of colored paper, with a scrawly like thing. Make it really nice on the best paper you can afford. And when you arrive, before you jump in, go and put down 10 houses that side and 10 houses that side and 20 houses on the other side. Hey, I'm working in your area today. If you'd like to come and have a chat to me about me helping you at your house, let me know. Otherwise, if I'm not around, here's my contact details. And doing that one thing is magic, because people tend to live in the similar demographics. So say if you've got kids, if it's children, people with under fives tend to live in the same street with other people with under fives.
Yeah.
If you've got a swimming pool in a street, like we've got one just in front of us, someone's just putting one in down the road, and we know we've got other ones all over the place, even though we are really close to the beach. I mean, anyway, but it's the same with you guys, right? Like swimming pools for Africa, really?
Yeah, the problem here everyone has to think about in our particular area is
water.
We'll have to get the water to fill them. So,
Same here. We're all on tanks.
Yeah. If you're in town, you're fine. If you're a bit out of town, people think a long time before they'll put one in.
Yeah, I can imagine. They'll be like, awesome, let's go for a swim. Well, really, it's just a dog paddle today with your feet. That's it. That's all that's happening. But we've got but you can put those in, and people are more likely to have that because they'll be in a similar demographic. And often just doing that one little thing will boost up your leads, which is amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So a couple of things I want to talk to you about. First, we do have a regular, for Australia, a regular online Map It, which is a full day with lots of this, but heaps more of training, and you get heaps of support. If you can have you coach with watching this and you want, that sounds like a cool thing to do, you can come along and do that. If there's things in here that you know that you really want to focus on and do, I just encourage you to take action on those things, because that's where the magic happens. We've got a free Facebook group. It's called Map It with Rachel Claver, and I'm going to send you a link to it in the email you get after this. And we've also got a free marketing training school called Toolbox. We give that to you for free because we really want you to be able to write your own marketing strategy. If you're not really ready, or you don't want to work with another a marketing company, or you just feel like you just want to get some guidance and some structure, you have that permanently free. It is not like a major lead into a big sales funnel. We don't send you heaps of unsolicited mail. You do get from us a whole series of emails guiding you through the process, but it's a true gift. And I've pop funded help here because I've run this in New Zealand, but Tracy and I are exploring ways to potentially have, in some states, there will be some funded help and support for you if you wanted to have some help with your marketing. Otherwise, we're always really happy to help. We love working with small businesses and medium-sized businesses who need that strategy, the digital training, marketing automation and digital advertising. That's our thing. But we also really just love empowering business owners to feel like they can do it themselves. And so if we can help you in any way to do that, we would love to. Yeah,
absolutely. Like my favorite email this week I got was from a client who had put in place some of the things that we taught him, and he couldn't wait to share his new website and a few other things that he'd done. And it was like, for me, it was just the best feeling to actually know that we've given someone, like keys basically to marketing his own business. And
I think he'd action that within 2 weeks or something, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. 2 weeks. Yep.
Amazing. So we'd love to help you if you want some help. But otherwise, please take the information from here. It's a true gift. So you don't feel you have to do that. And all the very best for your business. We will send you some information about the map that's coming up. And otherwise, I hope you have a great day.
See ya.
Wave goodbye.